I'd like to call this regular scheduled meeting of June 6th, 2023 to order, please. As we gather today, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of this committee and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Please join with me in a moment of silent reflection, please. Just a couple of items that I'd like to bring up. Just a reminder, we are under a complete fire ban within our township. And also there is a special air quality advisory. So if you go outside, please be careful. Take care of yourself. And also there's been an overdose alert from Renfrew County and District Health Unit. My chat with Dave went really well. A lot of interesting points came up. And there are some that I'll be bringing up later during some of the other parts of the meeting. One of the really interesting ones that I got called, there was a couple of key points. One were the dusty roads and the potholes, etc. And just to reassure everyone, I know firsthand that roads department is out grading as much as possible and filling as much potholes as they can. There's just a lot, and they're getting around to take care of everyone. So I just want to say thank you, Dean, and your staff. The other interesting item that came up during the drugstore chat was the tap. And through people asking about that, and in addition to calls that I've been receiving, I've had 5 calls from Ward 1, 3 calls from Ward 2, and 6 calls from Ward 3. So just keeping a little scorecard going as we keep moving forward. There was council, I believe you received a capital work project for 2023 from the County of Renfrew. I just want to go over one of the items, County Road 58 from Deer Trail Road to the Bonnechere River Bridge. And just to illustrate how much, it was well over $1 million for that section of road. I think it was 2.3 kilometers or 2.6 kilometers. So that's what the county is doing for us. So, and hey, that's a good way to move on to the next subject. Does anyone have any pecuniary or financial interest? Having seen none, well, our first delegation. And Ted?
So every year, Ontario government gives a plaque for recognition for Senior of the Year. And it goes to a person that's done a lot for the community and still does a lot for their community. So this year's winner for Joe Haley Richards is Roger Mclehan. Just a little bit of background on Roger. He gives a lot of time to the Seniors Club, church. He was very instrumental in our first Irish gathering, the first few. Roger, are you still on the Irish committee? No. And 49 years as a volunteer firefighter. Wow, it's well deserved.
Do the public school one.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. He does. Okay.
Thank you.
We must ask you, do you have a few words to say? Roger, would you like to say a few things?
No.
Okay,
I enjoy,
please.
I enjoyed everything I did. Fire department, and started out with nothing, and we built it up to the fire department. And then we all, whatever. Not a lot of. And now I'm on, senior club down there, and I'm a treasurer, and we're gonna have to get money for them. And Bill and I work together, all the ventures. And there's a few familiar faces around here. I know that. The mayor and the neighbors, we have nothing. I'm Ted. I buddy for years and years. His dad is the one that hired me into many years. We used to have our meetings sitting on the fire truck.
$18
No.
No, we used to have a
Well, just so you know, you're a real credit to our community, and we're thankful to have you.
And his wife, Ernest, said he'd be up there. He could have put it over.
We're in our 61st year.
And I'd like to thank Councilor Brown for nominating Roger for this in the government. And thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for restoring, you also restored that.
Well,
The Bickle pump.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Roger.
Good stuff.
with help.
That's enough. But
Yeah, you don't have to say he's one of those.
Well, it's big, but it's interesting.
Our next delegation, I'd like to call upon the Kilwood Public School, grade 1 and 2 class.
Yeah, I think.
My name is Alex. I go to Kilwood Public School in grade 1. And practice learning for the community. Just entering the people of class to talk about how we can help the environment. We think that we put up signs on or having like a trash can on Cannon Street and help us with a problem. Thank you for having me here. Our class appreciates you taking the time to listen to our ideas and suggestions and ideas on the.
That's awesome.
hey. You have one that we're discussing here, or you go on to.
Yeah, so some more details. So I had the privilege to go to the grade 1 and 2 class at Kilwood Public School from Mr. Rinsky, inviting me there. She had sent me a letter on behalf of the kids. They had participated in the environmental action tour. And they're very concerned about a lot of the litter that they found on Cameron Street. They noticed that seemed to be where the concentration was. So they reached out to me, which I really appreciated because I think it takes a lot for anyone, but especially young people to take action in their community. So I talked with Tammy and I thought it would be a really good learning opportunity for the kids if I went and spoke with them and talked to them about local government and how that if you work together and you have a common goal, that you can achieve great things in the community. And that the next step is to reach out to your local government and then we'll all work together to build our community into a better place. So we had a really great talk there. I went there and I had some shirts and I have a picture here in the package for, we gave them all shirts. We talked about it quite a bit of length and also about local government and how that works. And then we did our first, after I left, they did their first experiment of voting in a class. So they picked who they were going to have represent their class and they practiced really hard. And here we are today. So I really appreciate them being here because, like I said, for young people to have such open minds and to care so much about the environment is really important. So I thought it'd be a great learning opportunity for them to come to council. So I talked to Tammy again and we invited them to council as a delegation so they could see the whole process through from beginning with an idea, to talking together, to working together, to bringing that idea to your local government. And now we're going to discuss as a local government what we can do to listen to your concerns. So very brave of you for coming up. Really appreciate it. And I'm going to pass it over to council and they're going to discuss this issue so you can see the whole process in action. And also their school is going to be either watching tonight or tomorrow, so they can learn this process too.
Okay, so this is a request for garbage receptacles and signage. So would the signage be, are you looking for signage for like Cameron Street? Is that where you like feel that we need signs in this community?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That was just where the most garbage.
Where the
in
most
town.
garbage was.
We have 4 different locations in town and that's where the most was. So we just thought, we tried signs in our schoolyard. It was a little bit, it was successful in some ways. So we're like, maybe a sign, maybe a garbage can, but we talked about how it's not just a garbage can is not just you put it there and forget about it. Someone got to pick it up. And so we kind of were just throwing around ideas and then we just thought we would write and see if there's any other ideas or anything else we could do.
But the sign thing.
We don't have the signs, we just thought. Just a reminder, please take your phone with you. Or
Okay.
There's garbage cans located on this street, please use those, or something like that, really, yeah.
I wonder if maybe the class. I don't know if it's kind of late with school here, but maybe they might be interested in creating a sign.
We did talk about that, they're creating.
And maybe we could print and put up in a few spots around town. Yeah, I think that was something that's like to be doable, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why not. You could also put a garbage can over there to do a few, down there, you know.
Every ten or something down. I think near the tank and the sun station, right?
And, we could do a trial there and put a garbage can and see if it collects anything. Go from there.
And then you could, after, if we put a garbage can there, you guys could take a look at it, see how much garbage you have and come back and report to us.
Well, it sounds like we can do it all.
Brian?
Yeah, I just, first of all, thank you very much for your presentation. It was wonderful. I think it's great and good to see that you're young children are into that and everybody should be doing this, so that's important. But I just have a suggestion, maybe you could invite the OPP to your school and give that presentation to them and see what they have to say about it. We might have to review this because it is against a lot of school government.
Yeah.
That's another angle, there's nothing wrong with putting signs and garbage cans. You might want to go that route too.
Sure, yeah.
Another idea.
Carl? You're good. Ted, anything else? Harold?
We have a couple of towns around lately, recycling bins that haven't been used for a couple of years. We took them down. They were way out of sight and everybody was just filling it full of garbage bags. And I think these might even help with recycling. And as the garbage is being picked up, the recycling is being picked up at the same time.
That's awesome.
They're just like brand new, so I mean,
Chris, would you coordinate that?
absolutely, yeah.
Bill?
I just want to thank you for coming and take the work to be a lot better place than we have.
Congratulations, the little girl, sir. Look at the perfect speech. Thank you very much.
Best delegation we've had.
That's a great, there's a standard now. You guys have set the bar pretty high. If our future, if you two represent our future in this field, wow, I'm very excited. I can hardly wait to see. And keep the speech going. Don't stop. Keep telling everybody what you're spreading. Okay?
Okay, so we just have a nice little gift for you for coming. Really appreciate it. And here you go. There you go. And one for the teacher, we made it all happen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Want to get it? Yeah, okay. You guys don't forget to get this all together? You be in the newspaper, that's what it's saying. Sure, yeah. Broke down a little bit, okay.
You want water bottles up from the girls? Yeah, in terms of we can keep it that further. You want something else there? Good.
Yeah, look natural. Don't blame.
You see, look natural. You smile, girl. Thank you, congratulations.
Well, Ann, I hope we can top that one. Oh, by all means. Yeah.
Thank you.
I thought you liked it better than
Oh, you can stay up with me louder. Somebody's got to go to school in the morning. I don't want to deal with that.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night.
Well, Ann, I hope he can match that one.
I think I stand a chance. Yeah. Should I just stand up here? Is that what you have in mind? Okay, good. I'm with I know some of you, I don't know all of you. My name's Ann Cole, and I live on King Street. And I'm with the Council of Canadians, which is a national organization that is concerned with protecting the water. And let's see, I brought some notes. Keeping healthcare public and universal, promoting pharmacare, other things, and I have a sheet of paper about it that I sent to Chris that I thought he might circulate around so that people could take a look at information about the council, so you know the group that I'm better about the group that I'm speaking on behalf of. And so we have a chapter here. We have a bipartite structure. We have a national organization office in Ottawa, in the smoke at the moment. And we also have chapters across the country, 43 of them that are 46 now, I think, that at the moment that do work on local issues. One of the local issues that we've been working on
well, one that we worked on over the last couple of years is the situation the really tragic and awful situation that occurred in a lot of the residential schools, where so many children didn't get home afterwards. And so one of our friendly organizations from the Algonquin community here produced these signs that say "You're not forgotten." And it was about a year and a half ago, two of our members, me and Duncan Noble, went and put this sign up on the bridge down there. People might remember there was a sign that looked like that on the bridge. And about a month ago, I saw that the sign had been defaced like this. And as you can see, there was an attempt to take out the word "not," so that it has the opposite meaning, and I was really upset about that. At the time that we put up the sign, I had a conversation with Chris. It was a different council, and Chris basically told me that I preempted a whole process that was about to start of opening a conversation with I really would prefer you to a picture of that, because the other one is quite racist. But anyway, so he told me that there was an intent by the former council to open a conversation with the leadership at Pikwakanagan about doing something, making some kind of marker or some kind of something that hadn't been decided, but the idea would be for the leaders to meet together. And he had said at the time that our chapter would be invited to, or he would see about inviting us to come to that meeting, because we do work in this area, and we have been selling these signs for our friends in the organization over by Golden Lake. So then the COVID precautions came in again, and that never happened. That meeting never happened, but blessedly the sign stayed up there and stayed in good shape for 18 months or almost 18 months, until somebody took it into their mind to turn it into a piece of racist graffiti. And the other thing that's happened simultaneous to that is that there are a lot of people that bought these signs. We were selling them in the area. In fact, we were selling them all over Renfrew County, because our chapter has members across. So we were selling them on behalf, and they were also selling them. The organization was also selling them. Circle of Turtle Lodge. And so a lot of people have had their signs stolen too. So that indicates that there is an attitude in the community that doesn't agree with this idea, or with the general whole idea of reconciliation and being neighbors. And that's really unfortunate, because we have to be neighbors. We are neighbors, and there are so many bad things that happen to Indigenous people over the last couple 100 years that we all need to know more about. And we need to be front and center in leading that kind of conversation and speaking up on behalf of the human rights of people in general, because if one group of people's human rights are abused, it opens the door for other people's human rights to be abused. So anyway, there's an organization or a process that was set up a few years back, about 10 years ago, called the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And they came up with a whole bunch of recommendations called their calls to action in 2015. And 5 of them apply to municipalities. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm asking for here. I am asking, I brought a copy of the calls to action I sent a copy to Chris, and I also brought a copy, and I've highlighted the 5 that have to do with municipalities. They're all in my opinion, just knowing where we're at in this community. Some of them won't be an issue at all if there were the capacity to work on them. But some of them are really bigger scale, meant for perhaps someplace like Pembroke or even Ottawa, that kind of thing, when they're talking about municipalities. But there is an education process that has to happen. And education, and that's, they talk a lot about that in here. And so I thought that if there could be a committee of council and community members, an advisory group, like an ad hoc group, that could sit down and talk about what kind of plaque or process and plaque or proposal could be developed in order to have something, a statement that's not unlike your opening acknowledgement, Mayor. That would be a really good thing. And it's one of the things that's in here where they talk about under one of the last call to action number 75. They talk about we call upon, it's kind of strangely worded because it's asking the federal government to work with municipalities and others. So just let's ignore the fact that they're asking the federal government to do it and think about what we can do in our community, in our positive relationship with the people from Pequotnacum. So it says we call upon the federal government to work with provincial, territorial, and municipal governments, churches, Aboriginal communities, former residential school students, and current landowners to develop and implement this, like, really heavy language, to develop and implement strategies and procedures for the ongoing identification, documentation, maintenance, commemoration, and here it comes, and protection of residential school cemeteries and other sites at which residential school children were buried. And this is to include the provision of appropriate memorial ceremonies and commemorative markers to honor the deceased children. I think it's bigger than the deceased children. I think it's about neighborliness and it's about reconciliation and it's about, so it's just the 5 recommendations that are in here that name the municipality are really named, you know, sort of say it should be done by municipalities, are really aimed at the federal government to get them to get municipalities to do it. So it's complex language and it's a bigger picture than we need to be worried about here. But I just think we can't let something like that happen in our community because people come here to shop from Pequotnacum. People live here who are of Algonquin heritage. I'm not, but it really deeply offends me that somebody thinks it's okay to go around and steal these signs when these poor children never got home from the schools that our government ran. So I think it's time for us to step up and have some kind of beginning of a public education, educating ourselves, educating the community, and a public education campaign, some kind of plaque or something that isn't sitting on the bridge and going to get defaced. And I guess that's it. I didn't come prepared at all for this because I was busy doing other stuff today and all week, and so I hope I didn't leave my points clear.
I think you did. But Brian, do you have any comments? Carol? Ted? Harold? Bill?
Really, I thank you for coming. I think that's a good idea. I read the calls to action some time ago, and I don't have the memory that I could recall all 5 that you mentioned municipalities. I'd like the opportunity to reread that and think about what we can do as a municipality. I think some kind of memorial could that could definitely be a part of it, but I'd like the opportunity to review that contact.
Yeah, as I said, I sent Chris a copy of the calls to action. I mean, the entire Truth and Reconciliation report is thousands of pages long, and the summary report is several hundred pages. I haven't read the big one. I read the a few hundred pages one. And it's very instructive, but I don't imagine you have a lot of time between all your hats. They're built to read the whole thing, but the calls to action, make it pretty clear if you can read the dense language, so.
Yeah, I'd like if you share, can you share this with us, email it to us? And I will say, we recently had Christina Savage here from Wasaya Consulting, and she did a wonderful presentation for our community that we endorsed and that gave us some tangible calls to action that we can start doing as a community. That I think, you know, I think the conversation started and this is kind of gonna propel us, you know?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really good. And, you know, I actually have been doing Indigenous rights and solidarity work for 30 years now, some 30 some years. So if there's any way that our chapter can be of support in anything related to this, we would be happy to do that. And I'm not the only person in the chapter. There's others.
Well, I'm sure once Chris forwards your email to all of us, we can look at it and we can, I have yet to meet the chief in Pickwackon yet, since the election, both elections, I guess, and,
He was the chief. He's the chief
yeah.
again.
And I do plan on meeting with them, so this can be a topic that we can certainly address,
Well, that would be wonderful. That's great.
so.
Okay, I'm done.
And
Get rid of this now. The evidence.
The beaver tails, all of them. There's 4 here.
Good. And out.
By all means.
Will you give us a beaver tail, Brent?
Wait for it.
Yeah.
Well, we're here, I think we got a kiosk on the new street up there, right beside Grill. Which for the new councilors may not know, but with that kiosk has been in partnership with the village over the years. And when I say we, I'm representing my wife, the founder of Beaver Tails, and
Don't trip.
our general manager, Dave Chelsea, his wife, Linda Foxcroft. Dave is our new general manager up there. Lynn is handling marketing for us, social media. And we're here to let you know, we understand that council approved, previous council approved only $500 this year to go towards co-marketing or Beaver Tails. We're here to tell you what our plan is for that. And also for new councilors or anybody that's not aware, we'd like to give you a description of what we call the Toad and Sunrise Fund. I've got my notes here. So we'll go to the marketing plan first. The goal of the marketing plan is to reach basically cottagers and campers as well as locals. The rationale behind the thinking behind what we're doing, what we've done in the years past, is that a lot of these cottagers and people that are camping have heard about Beaver Tails. We've had some nice publicity, high profile stuff, and a lot of them don't have Beaver Tails in their hometown. And if we can just make people aware, campers, holidayers, that we're in Killaloe, typically they get bored or it's raining and they're looking for things to do. And we can remind them that they can come to Beaver Tails for Killaloe for Beaver Tails, they will. In time, of course, they leave the village, so we realize there's shopping opportunities here. We get to know some of the people, and it's on their map, on their radar screen. So 2,500, as I say, as I understand it, has been allocated from Chris. We developed our marketing plan with Chris. Mainly we're looking at 4 activities. The first is that brochure you see there. And that has been distributed to, I think, 30 different information centers in Renfrew County. All of them. Oh, yeah, okay, all of the information centers in Renfrew County. That's the brochure, that from the start, we've always paid for that 100%. You won't see that on the marketing budget when you see the marketing budget later. And there are also these little point of sale racks that they appear on. Second initiative, and one that we're spending the most money on is funding, or I'm sorry, is print advertising in various paper. And I think I was just sitting here thinking we should be so happy. Well, we've been here almost 50 years now. When we first came, there was that Eatonville Leader. That's a fine newspaper. Rare for the area like this, you know. I was passed that on to Gerald. We have, let's see, we're spending quite a bit of money on newspaper ads. Lynn has done the graphics for them. You'll see examples on page 2. And they will be bi-weekly in both the Leader and the Gazette. And definitely they'll go into the editions before the long weekends. And they'll go into the editions before special events here in Canada Day and Irish Days. They'll be also altered and adjusted so that they're not just the same old, same old. The third initiative, or this is second or third, is social media. And that's where Lynn comes in because she's quite capable at it. And we'll go at it, if not daily, every other day, freshen posts, measure responses and things. Again, putting the word out there, reminding people, hey, remember, Beaver Tails is here. And of course, a lot of the campers and the cottagers use Facebook, social media. And the third or fourth element is what we call the red chair display, and that's on the front cover. It was Chris's idea. The idea is that in order to create more of a connection between the village and Beaver Tails for people in town, there would be these red chairs. We would like to have them located in the park under the Canadian flag. We think that would be a nice photo operator in the Canada Space Street in Honolulu with the Canadian flag behind it. But we'll build them modularly. Chris wants that, so that they can be moved, this photo opportunity, to different events in the village and outside the village. And we support it. So the budget there for that I've just been talking about, the big items, is on your third page. And you'll see the total is $9,065. 2560 will come from the township, as I understand, it's already been approved, and then the 6,500 or whatever the difference is, that comes from the Killer Sunrise. That's the second part of this eloquent presentation. And that is to explain what that's all about. It's not a formal fund, it's a commitment, really a personal commitment made by Pam and ourselves. When the village approached us wanting to brand themselves as birthplace of Beaver Tails, wanting to make use of our brand and familiarity with the brand to bring visitors to the village, we wanted to go proceed for 3 reasons. One, is we're flattered to think that we showed up here in a 53 Ford and this little village we got to know and shopped here and began to know the characters here. They began to know us, and now our company's name is on the entrance signs. It's very flattering, and we're grateful for that. Secondly, there was a good operator in town at the time at what is now the Creekside Grill, Ken Barnes, and we watched her, and she served Beaver Tails the way we would want them served. And what we did not want, and the reason we waited a couple of years before we said yes, till we knew she was, we waited a year because we watched her for a year, is we didn't want people kids seeing that, sign birthplace of beaver tails, saying, I want a beaver tail, and having the hardware store tell them, no, there's no beaver tails in town. There had to be beaver tails, and so, they have been served since, May, May 12th, I forget. May 12th, yeah, 2014. The other reason, is because we have a soft spot, for Shillelagh. When we moved from here and opened in Ottawa, the beaver tails is my grandmother's recipe. She made these as we were growing up. When we developed our first new topping, for her was cinnamon, sugar, honey, and jam. And that's how we opened and started. But then, when somebody put a lemon on that cinnamon sugar, wow, we're gonna offer that. It's so simple to make, and the taste is so different. Our soft spot for the village and the way we have been received here is weird, idealistic, funny looking young people received so warmly. And that wasn't necessarily common. We knew that, we're sensitive to that, but it was different here. And the people of the village and the hills around here mentored us. And so where we were grateful, and that's why we named the Killaloe Sunrise. So when we had opened and had a grand opening, the DMC by Garnet, back on in May of 2014, we announced that all the proceeds, Kim paid us the royalty for every beaver tail she sold. She would get half the profit, we get half the profit. We did all of our profits coming to us, it's going to go to a Killaloe Sunrise Fund. And it did. And recently, what has happened is working with the Burks, that own not just now the Killaloe Fresh Mart, but Cobden and Eganville too. They agreed that we could take control ourselves back of beaver tails here. So now we run it ourselves, and we're grateful for that. We've got free hand, but we've got a great general manager in Dave here to greet people. And before, where all of the where half the royalty, half the profit on every beaver tail went into the Killaloe Sunrise Fund. Now all the profits from that operation will go into the Killaloe Sunrise Fund. So it's going to be much, much greater. We will spend those monies in three ways. First of all, pay the bills, pay Dave, landscaping, painting. I don't know if you've noticed, but I think you visually improved it this spring. Second place the money will go will be to marketing. That budget you see. And the third place is when there's money left over, and there will be sooner or later, that money, Pam and I get to decide which worthy causes we give it to. We've used it for things like the library, of course, and Stone Fence Theater, but we bought somebody a water heater, and we knew she was worried it was going to bust. So, and we couldn't afford one. So that's the kind of thing. So really, that little kiosk up there that you're supporting with your money, you're not supporting a private business. You're not supporting a normal business, as you would think of it. It's because the profits do not go anywhere but back into the region. It's kind of a not-for-profit, a charitable enterprise, and we hope to continue to support it. So I'd be open for questions or comments. I do have one question myself. That is, would it be a violation of the municipal act if I gave your counselors a coupon for a free beaver tail?
As long
No,
as long as it includes the lemon.
And his worship was
That was pretty quick though.
Think we'll be going to beach. Return to tell.
I just wanted to say that we go to conferences, Chris taught me this great thing. When we go to conferences, people go, "Where's Silver?" We say, "We're home of the beaver tail," and everyone goes, "Oh, I got a beaver tail." And so that's kind of, it really has become, I notice when I go out to Toronto to meet other political people, it's our place to see. And it's awesome to be able to say that, yeah.
we're very, very happy that it's happened.
Yeah.
wasn't it Dean, you were at the Lewis conference and maybe want a picture with you because you're Beaver Dale? Yeah, in Toronto.
Say what?
The lady wanted a picture of Teddy and, I don't know.
We go to this conference in Toronto every year for Ontario Good Roads.
Yeah.
And as soon as I seen Killer Hager Richards, they're like, that's where the beaver tails come from.
Yeah.
Can we get a picture?
Well, and boy, the two people behind us, we didn't know we were gonna get his name. Dave, we've known for years. He was working with my brother-in-law, we were building long houses for 6 years, and watched him over at Home Hardware, and his service was always knocking and talking like he did. So I would, you know, we're sort of, if you're in this business, you don't have to be treated like a nuisance. And so then we didn't know that the name was, it's she was in graphics art, and pretty energetic as well.
Yes, Brian wants to show you a picture. He was out west last
I
year.
have a picture here when I was in Jasper last summer. At, one,
Okay, all right. And did you buy one?
well, yes, a couple. One just doesn't cut it.
I don't want to thank that, but see, it's a great part of it. I think.
I just have a couple of quick things there. Just stories, I know we're dragging this on, but. So I remember my first beaver tail because my dad was Bud Brown and he had a chip truck right beside your beaver tail booth at the craft fair when you got started there. And secondly, friends of mine from London come up 2-3 years ago. And they brought their mom up, she'd never been up here before. And they took a picture with the beaver tail sign coming into Killaloe. And his mom passed away a month ago. And when we went down to London to the funeral, on the pictures that they show on the TV screen was
That
all the
picture.
beaver tails at the funeral. So I just thought, like, it meant a lot to their family that they come up to the home of the beaver tails.
Teddy's from Kitchener, they're opening one in Kitchener this weekend.
Oh, there's it.
Well, I'm pretty sure, but you live there, right?
Yeah, it lives.
Yeah.
Harold,
Well, I guess.
Bill, Maureen, right? Anything else? Carl?
I just got a few beavers.
Thank you for your.
No, thank you. Thank you for investing in, thank you for investing in the community.
We get to leave and go away all the boring business.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Freezing?
Good night.
You too.
She's got a blanket.
Good work. Hey, Raj. Good work. I don't want to get here. Coffee. Put it on my account.
Trade your beaver tail for water.
That way to the plus.
We're still live, right? Okay.
You good?
That was a nice picture. I threw that card at you, eh?
Yeah, it doesn't really.
Anyone else see it?
Okay, minutes of the previous meetings. Motion to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Maureen McMillan, motion to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting held on May 16th, 2023, open session.
Discussion. All those in favor? Carried. Happy pen or marker doing that?
Well, that's okay. That's fine.
Motion to approve the minutes of the committee meeting minutes.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Bill Smith, motion to approve the minutes of the Policies and Procedures Committee meeting of April 3rd, 2023, open session, and the Human Resources Committee meeting of April the 24th, 2023, open session.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Chris, you're up.
So first off, our environmental actions were huge success. We ended up picking 200 bags of garbage and recycling out of the ditches, which is a record. So that means we had record teams, record participation, over 395 participants, and we include the schools. So really amazing year. Lots of great feedback. The big thing that we're seeing this year, which is I'd say a testament to our community and what we're doing, is that some of the roads are not gonna have to be done next year because they're actually staying clean, which is to me a big sign. So we have our most garbage, which is retired Red Rock. There is garbage with the trash pandas, which end up being a sundial. There's honestly so many things could have been. There was a lot of random stuff, microwaves and bikes and all sorts of things that really don't belong in the ditch. Best action photo was in there, dumped that. You can see that at the top of the ice cap. Best team name, Chatty Bag Bag. And with that, was Tracy Bruski. So overall, just really great feedback from the event. We've got a lot of stuff every year that we're trying to do next year. What we're going to do is offer people when they come to the meet and greet that they can bring their own Tupperware. Some people said that. Some people want to reuse their shirts because they're saying we don't need to do that. So every year we change. You know, the years before we started bringing water bottles, but now we also bring a green Culligan because some people don't want to use that. So every year the event's becoming more environmentally friendly. It's increasing. So I think the investment for the township is very strong and the community is really resonating with it. So there's that picture I was talking about. School is one of the things where I really love my job, getting to reach out to the community and do this kind of stuff. They were so excited to be there and really enthusiastic. And I just thank Tanny for supporting that as well, because she really saw the vision with that this is a great opportunity for these kids to learn about local government and be involved in. That's something they're never going to forget. So thank you also for council for entertaining that, because I think, like Bill said, if they're the ones who are in charge of our future, we're going to be better off for that. So Canada Day. So here's the full schedule for Canada Day, everything coming up. We've got the rubber ducky race coming back. Our main event, which is going to have bounce castle, face paint, slip and slide, live music, long games, and of course fireworks. Hopefully we can have fireworks. Di Bassett's back for MC, and he's going to be doing some Ottawa Valley songs and dances and all kinds of fun stuff. Then we got Dexter and Serena Snosky and Sidewinder coming back. The Knights of Columbus are doing their barbecue, and then new this year we're going to have a food drive. The food bank is really having a hard time, so Donna Marie Swalski reached out to me and asked if we could do a food drive, and I thought that would be a great idea, just right at the door, that we can encourage people. So anyone listening to the public and to council, please encourage your friends and family when they come to bring some non-perishable food items, because as you know, the food banks are getting used more than they ever have been. Swim program, so it's open. It opened June 5th, and we've already got quite a few registrations. The final registration date is going to be June 28th. And then we've also included digital forms this year, which is a new thing. So and just so that council is going to keep it the date of August 11th open, because that is the swim barbecue. We typically have it the last swim event. So summer students, it's pretty interesting summer this year. My community development assistant is not able to start until June. They're supposed to start mid-May. Also, the flower caretaker is unable to start until late June. So they're supposed to be here mid-May. So it would be an understatement to say that I'm, on top of everything else, very busy because I don't have my summer student to help me. You know, we're gonna see, thanks to Carl, we're gonna make it happen. So the problem is, yeah, big round of applause. It's honestly. I could have done without him, so thank you, Carl. So flower care, I'm supposed to be flower caretaker, isn't old enough to qualify for Canada Summer Jobs. We've had quite the process, a learning process with the hiring, so we're gonna be changing everything because there are certain things you can't ask, but we're gonna have to figure that out because we didn't learn until we got the paperwork filed. So we would need to cover the Canada Summer Jobs, but as in life, one bad thing is always good. So because they're not starting for 7 weeks, we're saving over $3,500 each student. So yeah. That's you can pitch that to council. I'm just reporting. So anyways, we're actually gonna be under budget for that, which is good. Not for me, but for you. And so anyways, so we'll we won't see any cost increase for that, but just so that you're aware that we're not gonna do that because they're not old enough to qualify for that.
Regular flowers, or they're gonna find one marijuana flower?
Well, I'll leave that up to you. I'm just gonna, I'll help you put them in.
Joke.
One way to reserve.
Wait a second.
So again, thank you to Carl, honestly, so much, because the flowers seem to be cursed. So
They'll be in tomorrow.
Okay,
we're gonna
let's,
see tomorrow. Me and Carl are gonna have a really fun day. I'm gonna have my cowboy hat on, and we're gonna get the flower beds done. Carl already prepped the 2 flower beds and replaced a bleeder hose, which is really gonna help us out. So we're going to Gerber's at Spring Fall at 7:30. We're gonna go plant flowers all day. We're gonna get the flowers in, so no need to worry about that. And then the visitor information center, again, since we are under budget with that, because of the late start, they're gonna take care of the watering for that part. So I won't have to also water it like last year, but we'll be able to make sure the plants stay alive during that time. So as you know, that's vandalism at the Pathways Park. We've looked into it with their insurance. They are not going to cover this, so I'm now in the process of figuring out. Well, our deductible is $10,000, so we basically wouldn't be worth claiming it. So I'm going to be looking into the costing of this, and I've reached out to Barco Products. They're getting back to me about if I can just replace the plexiglass on this. It's not covered under warranty either. But hopefully we can just replace the plexiglass with a top cover, and then I'm going to be working to figure out how we can get this fixed because obviously the community has been using it, but we want to make sure that it's accessible because as you can see from the first 2 pictures there, it's kind of not fully able to get past there, so that's unfortunate, but we'll make the best of it and move on. So Digital Main Street, so they are actually in the library today, or this week, sorry. Unfortunately, they may be postponing it until the week of June 19th because no one has shown up. I've actually went door to door to Killaloe and we'll know with the intention this week also to go to Round Lake. However, if they change it, I won't be doing that because some people are seeing these ads. We've got them all over the place and they just have no idea what it is. So I went to quite a few businesses and explained it, and they said they would come, but the 2-part problem. One is it's during the hours when they'd be working, and 2, as you know, like they have a million things going on. So the coordinator for this, the Upper Waterbury Chamber of Commerce, is going to reach out to me tomorrow, and I will let council know if they're going to postpone it because they think people maybe are preoccupied also with the fires. Now a lot of people are coming downtown. I've talked to quite a few business owners here, and they said that downtown's not active right now. So I'll know more about that and I'll update council in that regard, but I highly recommend you check this program out. We have this program until April next year. So it's not a total big thing if this doesn't go right now. But I encourage you, if you do know a local business owner or brick and mortar, that you highly encourage them to check out these programs. One was a $2,500 grant. There's also like that DMS shop here. There's a little barcode here, so you can just scan that and check it out. And then I highly encourage you, if we do have it, to come out to the meet and greet on Friday at 9:30 at Engine House Cafe. Where a lot of the business owners will be there. But anyways, this is a really great program. We're really grateful to Ottawa Valley Chamber of Commerce for this. But please, if you do know business owners in town, encourage them. Yeah.
I just want you to know, I did go to Round Lake and I hit up a lot of those businesses.
Okay.
There's a lot of people interested, but and there were a few that said they were gonna actually come this week. So,
See, and that's the thing, I also have, I'd say 10, maybe even more people say, I'm gonna come, whatever, because when you go door to door and you explain it to them, they're like, okay, I know, I get this, whatever. So we're hoping to keep doing it, but again, it's their call, they're technically running the program. And they just were feeling like it's not, so maybe I can convince them with that, because if you're saying there, because I have like 10 plus people who said for sure, and you have maybe that
Yeah.
too.
yeah.
Because I figured honestly it was gonna be classic style, it'd be Friday. I think they'd all be coming in and whatever, but again, it's really hard because they've got businesses drunk, right? So,
Yeah, and I did tell businesses too that this is an ongoing thing, but they
Yeah.
couldn't make it to reach out and reschedule.
yes, and that is the big point marker here, that if you can't make it out. We have this program until April next year, so just call them and they will set you up. This grant's available all year. It's a really, really good grant. So, okay, on the skate park. So as you can see here, I've done quite a bit of scouting out of locations and stuff like that. I've got 4 locations here that I am proposing, but they all kind of have their own pros and cons and things. Water Street, so this is, so you can see in the front here, I did a little mock-up of their skate park. You can see an aerial here as well as a picture. So it's 700 meters square. They did, theirs was $150,000. It's made of concrete. It's on Lake Street and it's called the Rapids. So I've used the mapping on GIS to check out the sites here. Water Street, more than enough room here. It's an invisible area, it's near a washroom. The cons are it's adjacent to a residence on the south side. And fencing may be required. And another point that's been made by Tyler is we're having a problem with parking. And if that's could be a place we're taking parking away from. So it's definitely something you consider for that. The next one is Station Park. So this is in the back end of Station Park. This is a little bit smaller than what we need, but we're probably not gonna be able to go as big as they did in Pembroke anyway, so we'll probably fit visible area near washroom, parking, fencing. It's adjacent to, but it's adjacent to a resident on the south side, and also may affect Stoneville Road. Then this was Mill Street. This actually came from trying to look at that little triangle, and then I realized there's this place across here. It's a large enough area, but I believe it's also sloped down to the water, so that could be a really big problem unless you really want to make a long jump over the creek. Which could be a benefit to the kids, but it's visible area, it's parking, but it's adjacent to a resident on the east side and it's next to Mill Street apartment. It also might need fencing. And then finally, the rink. So this is the back end of the rink. Parking not near residence, but it's much less visible and may need fencing. So this is typical of any of these projects. The more I get into it, the more problems and things that come out of it. And there's a lot of things to consider here, mainly liability, insurance, maintenance, community consultation, planning, zoning, etc. I've tried my best to get this ready as fast as I can with all the other stuff going on, but it is a lot and there's quite a few moving parts here. I personally really like the part of the visitor center, but I feel like if we do it there, we're gonna have to do a community consultation, which we don't have the time for. So the big thing that I started to realize here is under greater reflection that do we want to keep going forward with this and kind of push it through and like I can make it, I really can make it work by the 14th, I can, but it's not gonna be, we might be missing parts and we might be missing out on the best piece because like I say, really, I feel like the best place is that Water Street, but we've got to go as a municipal government and figure out what kind of liability and things. And, you know, I had a really interesting conversation with a couple people in Pembroke and they said, it actually does reduce the kids getting in trouble. They've said that during the pandemic, the kids started to vandalize stuff more and they were noticeably more active in minor criminal activity. But there's a place that place is perfect for that. Right, and they would have had to do all these other things to make that happen. And I don't want to miss out on a perfect place, not having all the things in place. So I'm kind of reaching out to council to see what you think. Like, should I go ahead and keep going this? I can keep you updated. try to figure all this stuff out. You know, I do have feelers out for all this stuff in terms of insurance and liability and a couple other things, so I can get it by the 14th. But I'm just worried that we might miss something and we might not get the property we want. Because like I said, I think we're gonna have to do a community consultation. We might also have to look at zoning and a bunch of other stuff. So do you want me to continue making this happen by the 14th, or? I also have other projects that I could put into this, so it wouldn't be wasted. But I just wanted to speak with council about this first, because it's just one of those things, like any project, you just kind of get into it and realize there's more than you bargained for. And I don't want to miss out on doing this right, because I see there's a need in the community, like the kids, they're formed a group around this, they want to do it. But if we have to do it on a property that maybe is subprime, or we run into these problems, and we're gonna be kicking ourselves in the foot. So I've kind of pushed that back to council to see what you want me to do. Like I say, I can make it happen. I write the grant, no problem. I've got pretty scoped out about what I want to do. I've got the people to talk to about the pricing, making it work for that money. It's just the logistics of it and making it work for where we want to work, because we're gonna have to convince the community, and we're gonna have to make sure that it actually works for what we want it to be. So I flip that back to you, and I will take your direction with that.
Harold?
Don't know. It's all the locations that you know, proposed or found out so far, there's something against it. It's either have people phones without a site, and you know, you stuff out of site, looking for stuff. It's going. Not a whole lot of time to go through it. But especially for this year, to make sure it's in the right place. Definitely, it'd be a great thing, but it's gotta be in the right spot.
Right? Oh, sorry, Harold.
No.
Right?
Yeah, I think, my opinion would be if Chris has another place to put that. Funding, is that what you can find?
Yeah, like I have those things that we need, like it mainly for this grant, we have to use it for active people or cultural arts. We have to find a project for that, but so it is limited what we can do in terms of municipality. But I do have stuff like a good example of the boards at Killaloe, like they're rotting. We could use it for that. There's something in Round Lake, pavement in Round Lake. We did put an application for that too before, so there's other stuff we could try to apply for. That would be pretty quick, that we've done the research for already. I mean, this is a good point too, like eventually down the line, we want to have this catalog of things where we can do this, but this is just one thing that it really came from the community. So it's like, not like we could be kicking ourselves in the butt about it. Like it kind of spawned out of nowhere, so.
Yeah, to my opinion, put it towards that kind of stuff at this point in time. And another part of it would be maybe, mayor could approach that youth group that you've been talking with there and see, it's for the youth, they're the ones behind this, let them get involved and maybe know what it's all about.
That's a great idea.
Come with some, let them do some.
Well, like, because they're older kids, they're saying, we want to come back to something. Because right now, there's nothing to come back to. Carl?
Yeah, and your first look at on Water Street there, about the charging station there. And I don't think it's a very good location there. And there's always people parking there too. So that's why I don't think one.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think, we're not 100% sure on everything. We should have gone for it. Yeah, go in,
That's right. Bill?
I'm not convinced that we have to have everything nailed down. I hear what other councilors are saying, and I hear your points and agree. I don't think we have to have everything 100% locked down before the application goes in. It's a 4 to 5 month period after the application goes in, that the community consultation regarding location and figuring out insurance and all those parts could happen. However, I respect the comments that were fellow councilors.
I saved you for last for a reason.
Well, I will say, Brian, the youth that really need the skate park are not the youth that are on Dave's youth committee. These are the youth that really need this park are not the youth that are on the Dave's
No,
youth
I'm not
committee.
just saying the youth.
Youth in general.
Yeah,
That would be a real project for youth. group.
yeah, so,
Not
and
just-
it would be good to get the youth that are,
Get into something like that.
yeah, it would be good to get the youth that are really feeling disenfranchised and bored. And the ones who are maybe, you know, creating some of the chaos in their community more involved with this and give them some ownership and maybe pride in the community, you know, because I know talking to them, they're really excited about the idea. So I hear what everybody's saying. I'm kind of like, you know, I mean, I really trust your judgment of grants because I know you're a grants guru.
Yeah.
And I do agree, like I did say, you know, Ted, last time when I think I talked to Chris after, because you brought up that comment, like, oh, this can't be near somebody's house, and so I said, I'm like, oh, we really gotta think of a different location, because that's right beside somebody's house. You know, so I get that, I don't think this can be beside anybody's home. Yeah, I just, you know, if we put it on the back burner, I just wanna make sure it's something that we really still look into, because it's really, really needed for our youth. Yeah,
My comments would be 8 days. I don't know, can you accomplish what you want to accomplish in 8 days? To be ready for the,
I mean, realistically. We've got a group around there who's supporting it with the quotes. The other pieces, you know, there is a good point that Bill makes, you could figure it out, but it's just a lot of moving parts, and I just didn't want to. Throw it all together and then problems come up and then. It would be like, well, why didn't Chris think of that, you know, so that's kind of where I was coming from with that. Like I said, it's totally possible to do, broke grants way short time. And it's just. The main thing is us as a council is if we're not hinged up on the location and we're willing to figure out the details in the back end. Kind of where I was coming from this was that if I get to go ahead, that I would be able to do it knowing that pending the other things that I have to figure out. But I didn't want to bring this up and then someone come to me and say, well, Chris, you didn't figure out all this stuff. Why didn't you do that? And then, you know, have that kind of happen. So mainly where this was coming from was to say that I've got most of this stuff ready to go. It's just necessarily like, are you okay with me not having a lockdown location and not all the details figured out? Now we might run into hiccups that if, you know, our insurance says this or our zoning says this or whatever, that we're gonna run into those hiccups. And that's kind of where I was coming from this, not necessarily to discourage the project, but to bring to council's attention that there's quite a bit of moving parts that we have to figure out that I won't be able to figure out. I mean, we started this like a month ago. So that's kind of where I was coming from, not to shoot the project down, but mainly to say that if we go ahead with this, there may be hiccups that we run into that we're gonna have to figure out and talk about and work on. Because either we've got to nail down a specific location and do all this stuff beforehand, or we are happy with the fact that we can do it afterwards. And that's really where I was coming from, not necessarily shoot the project down, because I really do believe in it. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of these kids, I mean, look at Alex Park, right? Like kids are bored and they wreck and stuff. But I just didn't want to come in and say, you know, there's holes in this, but that's the only way to do it. Like, you know, I agree with Bill that there are things we can figure out, but just to bring to council's attention that we can't, I can't bring this project to you shovel total ready in a total package like I really would want to. It's not possible with the time that we have. I literally just have to give you an idea. I've got the guy ready with the quote, figure out once I figure out the size that we want to do, we know the cost. I've talked to quite a bit of people about the logistics of it. You know, that the writing the grant isn't a problem. It's the being okay with the fact that we're gonna hit some bumps in the road maybe that we've got to figure out. So that's kind of where I was coming from with that.
So I think when we started talking about the idea of this grant, we knew that that was a thing. Like, we knew that in a 1 month time frame, you were not gonna be able to figure out every single moving piece of stuff, you know?
Yeah,
It was, because that was part of our discussion, right? Like he said, oh, even if there is a big enough hiccup and we can't do it, well then, we can't do it,
yeah.
you know?
So I'm willing to do this grant and write it and say, you know, with no specific location and use that, and then we walk through that process together. I'm not saying I'm not able to do that, and I'm not saying I'm not able to write this grant, it's just that we've got to be okay with that, and maybe I was unclear that I didn't know that that's where you guys were talking about before, but I just want to bring it to everyone's attention, because it is something that we're gonna have to consider in the long run, that we might run into these kinds of things, and we're gonna have to do these kinds of things in the back end.
Brian?
So would they even approve of it if there's no location? What would that mean? Once again,
I don't think so. I mean, realist,
my question, I guess, is so would they turn that grant down on that grounds and then we move out on that? So-
I think if we pick a location and we have to change it, we can worry about that in the back end, because it's still a thing to do. As a municipality, we've kind of wiggle room with that, because we're a municipal government and they know that we're gonna make that work. So not necessarily as worried about that. What I was more worried about is council seeing this and going, well, why didn't you figure all that out? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do this? I can't in that timeline. So as long as you're okay with that, I can do it. It's just,
I think where I was going before was, I'm not sure that you're 100% comfortable with this. Like, you're comfortable, but you want to make sure you're really comfortable.
well, I just want to make sure that council knows what we're getting into, I guess is what I'm saying.
I
Oh.
think that, to Brian's point, there's a possibility that the people who are reviewing the grant could see holes in it. Like, if you don't put in the one word in your application saying, you know, insurance already says this is good, or whatever it happens to be. You know, they might pick up on that and it's gonna be crap. So it might be better to wait until we have a strong, solid application, but like Maureen said, I don't want it to fall off the table.
What I'd like to do, if I could, ask for a vote. Oh,
First.
yeah.
Okay, so if we did, what's that?
Grant is what you do.
I'm not surprised.
On Al Grant. Would it affect our chances of another grant later on if we put in for this one? And we didn't get it because we weren't ready? Would it affect it later on?
That's hard to say, I don't know about that, but it's probably best to put a totally thought out, you know, bulletproof proposal.
Yeah.
So,
As a,
As Chris was saying. So we applied for this grant. And. As stipulated, the boards of Kilmer Lake are rotten, Round Lake surface rink is done. Would it be take that grant and apply it to different?
No.
Other subjects? No.
so that grant is only specific for this?
oh, yeah, we could apply for it.
We can't supply though for the skate park and then put it. Right.
No, yeah, no.
Yeah, you gotta be specific on what you're applying for.
Whatever we get.
Are you saying that you want to know if that grant money is available to other projects?
Yes.
Absolutely, if they fit into
The criteria, right. So I think what I'd like to do is call for a vote. We can sort of, we've really talked about this a lot, and I think there's some really good ideas. But the vote would be 2023 or 2024. So not yay or nay, but what
We
year?
don't know if that grant.
Yeah, I think it was, didn't you say, Grant? Or
It
Chris?
It should be, I mean, it had lots of this year. I mean, there's no guarantee ever with anything like that, but I mean. if
Or we could-
assume, so yes.
Or the vote could be yes or no for this year,
Yeah, but
whatever.
can we not take this grant and apply for the grant this year? To fix the links in Round Lake, and the rink is still loose. He wants it, why is it back? Instead of the skate park, we keep it in mind about the skate park, don't forget about it,
Yeah.
and apply for something to reduce the money for right now.
But you got 8 days.
I don't-
I already have quotes for all that stuff.
You do?
So again, will that affect their chance of getting the ground next year for the skateboard park or that how it feel?
I don't think so. I don't, they fund good projects.
I've heard of other places getting a couple of years.
Like back to back?
That sounds more.
Well, I think there's a consensus for that one.
I definitely agree with skateboard park, like, definitely something.
100%.
So for the next 8 days, you'll be putting together the bid for the rinks.
Yep, I mean. that's
Anything
stuff-
active, right? Is that what it's called? Active participation?
Active people is one of the pillars that you're, or one of the outcomes, yeah.
No,
The Ontario Trillium Fund, kind of with, is what we're talking about.
Both rigs are used winter and summer, both services. Yeah. So it's not like they don't get used. We have the seniors even down in Mount Lake. Well, not just from there, but we're still looking to have their pickleball court.
Oh, yeah.
So they can get out and play. It's
Mhm.
not just for kids. It's for everybody. Seniors need it as well as the kids need, it, as far as I can.
Well, on that grant, you'd be looking at doing the pavement for both rinks, the boards on both rinks.
Well, you can both of them.
I don't think you'd get, yeah,
Well,
you probably could cover the other, because you're probably looking at $80,000-$90,000 for the boards alone.
Chris, thank you for all your hard work.
I'm sorry, I really,
And all the work that you did put into it.
yeah, I don't like this, but it's just like,
No, good.
But we want to make sure that it's going to be in the right spot,
Yeah.
and be used.
so we'll leave it to Chris's discretion on how he splits which rink and what's going on. Is that good for direction as far as everyone?
Yeah.
So you got 8 days.
yeah, I can do that, that's.
And you,
Stop planting flowers, he's right.
Tomorrow, next day, I'm writing grant.
I think you
Oh, I
should,
can imagine.
I think you should pull the plug and doing the flowers, let Carl look after that himself. And you do the grant.
Hey, look, I can quit very short, I can walk in.
We just-
Same door.
We just heard you got a raise tonight. You got a coupon.
Yeah, I got a beaver tail.
Anything else, Chris? Anything else? Congratulations on getting the Taste of the Valley.
Yes, thank you. That was-
And
We got it, right, completely forgot to put that in there, yeah.
and also along that same line, I understand we're doing it in the municipal office parking lot.
Yep. It was literally the only place I could make work with all the things that they needed and respecting the other businesses, so. Yeah, we got it.
Awesome.
It's very. 2024.
You gotta do it in the park.
It's not enough room. They want the vehicles to be able to be parked there, they want Wi-Fi, there's a whole bunch of specifications, but that was the only place I could make work. With that, and it's gonna be good,
Awesome.
yeah.
So Chris had a BIA meeting 2 weeks ago. May 11th. So I was able to go to the meeting and I had a couple of questions, and I think I brought it up to one of the committees in regards to the partnership between the municipality and the BIA. And there was it was unclear whether there was a affiliation or partnership made up, but apparently, do you know about this?
Yeah, my understanding that we were gonna be talking about that next time I was here. As far as I was aware, so I'm ready for that, but
Okay.
yeah, next meeting, we'll be discussing that for sure.
Okay, I can delay that.
Good.
Good. Good. Thank you.
You.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll pick you up at 7:30, Carl.
Dean?
Hey, let's look at air quality, you know, the wildfires and stuff going on. I gave some guys some masks that they wanted to wear. Working, the guy picking up the cycling today and, making sure that they're all not, you know, overworked. This race or the field in office or whatever, something that. Have a great convenience sign of things. Something like something like that. The one with Allison has already been applied, and the next one should be here next week. Better than following covers and pitching as well. Nothing on Harrington Road with the traffic. The grass cutting on the shoulders of the road, should commence shortly. Cold hacking, grading, grass cutting with the parts continue as well as the fire hides. The dock is installed at ground lake, both on the third meeting on weekend, and we just waiting for the dock extensions. Entrances, the legal entrance there we had on this road. We needed rules for them, and this one was illegal. So I got the guys to do a little bit of ditching, maybe 2 feet high on the road. We leveled off them. So last week, I guess they wanted to put 2, that nice of the loaders, put 2 or 3 boulders there. So the guy would be moving because there's no sight line, so you need 250 feet visibility. If you pull the other entrance on each direction, and you're not even close to 250 feet. So yeah, and also we're having some street signs being removed in front of our rural roads. It also was really take it was just for 911 applications for like the OPP and paramedics and fire department as well. So we try to get them off as quick as we can once they're taking down. That also goes same with the civic addresses. We apply them on municipal property. If somebody wants a civic address sign, none has been taken by Schwann, the council. We put them on municipal property. Most of the time, or the homeowner's property, where it makes sense, kind of thing. You're hearing some rumble there about middle school apartments. When we're filling up our water truck at the location across from the street, they're saying that they need water pressure in the building. Aqua says that's the best one to use. If we're going to use it, we don't use it that often, just when you're usually doing the dust suppressant and stuff like that. So we don't use the whole heck of a lot. Aqua said it's good for us to use that one as it drains the system better. So you don't have to drain it as much. So it drains the system and helps the system. We don't use that much water. So he said to me that we should use the more water, like where we have, I think they said 100 people or whatever on the system. So we're producing more water than we're actually getting into the customer. So that's one of the reasons why we're taking it from there. And realistically, I got ranked the time up there 5 to 8 minutes. There's a work the truck to fill. So it's not that it's a half hour, whatever. So I just thought I'd bring that to council's attention, just in case he's got calls coming or whatever. But yeah,
Could they be notified when you're doing it or before you do it?
sometimes it just depends. Because sometimes if some calcium isn't there right away, and I got a couple phone calls along the side of the road, we will take it. So we probably could be once we know when the calcium is in, but
You don't mean everything doesn't just go according to plan.
yeah.
There's no other hydrant down. Is it submitted like that one or what?
I think it's the end one, maybe.
It's the other one.
I have got a couple calls there. I was gonna bring it up tonight.
Probably one of some workers in there or something doing some work, and I guess to see the truck out there, and the one person went to the top and turned the tap on, going in the shower, and what, like, can you wait 5 minutes? Like, I'm not,
Yeah.
I know they need water, don't get caught. I just thought I'd bring that up.
Is there any way we can just?
I can ask Uncle to see if there's a closer one that help.
You're still going to cut the pressure down.
Then you'll have pressure being cut on some of these other ones.
And it's only 5-10 minutes.
Can I just clarify one thing you said, that Upton is producing more water than we need?
I'm bringing up a suggestion.
Is that exactly the minutes for future discussion?
Is it in the minutes?
I think it's.
No, you weren't.
Not a better minutes.
You don't mind.
I'll make us a t-shirt.
Does make a t-shirt. Anybody have any questions for Dean?
I got something.
Oh, boy.
I did the flower beds yesterday, and that orange fence is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Half down, half up. Either we take it down.
That's not for me, that's for us.
Oh,
You know, that's our decision.
okay, I'll bring it up after. Sorry, Dean.
Brian?
I have a couple, first of all, the street light in, on Brown Lake, Crimson Spit Road. Right at the corner from the road there. So we have, is it well, it does that? Or? Yeah. Is he doing or probably, or how often does he do it? Usually wait till there's a couple, so we don't get the service there. And there's still one in town, remember, that's on all the time. On, this one's out on. Yeah.
Can we trade them?
You don't happen to have. I don't know the number right offhand, but is it the one right on? The right on the corner of the house, there's one. And there's only one. I was wondering about the two new sections of dock, and what you mentioned, you know, the orders, you know, when they're coming in. I emailed them last week and we never got back. I had somebody asked me on the next week, and said, your order, sure, they're not in. The one way they're in. They're in, yeah,
But the old dock is, it's already in.
it's already.
We're just, we, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I just had one other thing, I was gonna bring it up in, New Britain, but maybe one of Dean's here. It's regarding, road site and the, brush. Got a couple calls from a couple different ratepayers on the, taking brush to the dump and. I said, why are we charging them, we're the only town to charge us money for brush? Around the area, so, I don't know, anyways, he went on the computer web page there and tried to find out the waste management committee, he couldn't find one. So
Public
apparently
Works.
It's not listed on there.
Yeah, Public Works.
It's not on the computer, on the web page, is it? That's what he thought, yeah. So there's only six committees, and that's not one of them, so I'm not sure why it's not listed.
Well, it's part of Public Works.
It's part of Public Works, but originally when I put it on the website, I was told, directed, not to put the subcommittees underneath. When you had originally set the committees up, I had asked, if you wanted the subcommittees underneath each heading, and you had directed no. So what's on there is policies and procedures, public
Just-
works, all that.
Anyhow, he couldn't find it on there, so he probably two different things on this, and after the last storm, I think we discussed this before about the brush. They had, each of them had ideas of, you know, they didn't just come and say, you know, complaining, they also had they said some places they get 1 day a year or 2 days a year at different times that they can take brush and stuff. And without a charge. That was one of the ideas that came up with. The other one was, after a major storm, a big storm, maybe 1 day or two, they could do it. Those were suggestions, so I just bring them forward from. Papers.
Yeah, and I also received the same emails too, that you got about the free brush disposal. Has it ever been done here
Done.
after the major storm, I think?
Well, after the
After
flooding.
the flooding, no, that's, we haven't, but previously, we never used to have these, the brush, right? We changed my mind. Yeah, that's been changed over the years, but anyhow, that was their ideas and I just brought them kind of for discussion and I know we've discussed it before and
I'm against it, yeah, 1 for 2 free brush there a year, that's fine, but everybody sends all their brush and brings it at the same time, the reason we're charging for it. Is because it's a cost to the municipality. To dispose of it, so we have to get our money back. We've gone through a budget process where we raise taxes, so.
what are these other municipalities doing with the
I really don't know, but to be
Harold?
honest, I care what the municipalities are doing.
It costs, and I think North Algoma, if all their big stuff is going right into Ottawa Valley Waste, it's not going in for free.
Yeah.
Ottawa Valley Waste has got to be charging them something.
I'm not following, but that's what they were told.
Yeah.
I was told, so I said, yes, I'm afraid now, so.
Well, the one committee, they've been out to other communities and they're gonna come back with a report soon. And in that report, we'll show the differences between was it 2 communities you went to? So it'll be 3 communities. It'll show the differences of all 3. When they do the report. Because I think you guys just went to one of the sites last week, maybe?
Plague in the 2 sites.
Yeah, so the report's coming.
So that's your answer, the report's coming, that's what I'm to tell them.
No, I'm telling you that. That's the process right now. What you're gonna tell them is what the council has just decided. I think that everyone's decided that there's not gonna be a free until if there's,
You have 2 people. So are we gonna vote on it or not?
sure, let's go down this side of the table.
Me,
Do you want free or no free?
I would stick with the system that we have right now, where we can pay for it.
Maureen?
Oh,
Hey, we gotta survive.
I know we have to survive, but, I don't know, I think I would like more information about what other municipalities are doing. Because, I think incentive for people to get rid of their garbage at, no cost is also really good for our
It's not,
community. And for the looks of things.
it's not garbage. It's a compostable product.
Well,
We gotta pay our fire department to get rid of it.
Or have you found out at the end of the year?
And then get a grinder in, it costs $30,000 last year. Or I don't know more. 33,000 to grind that stuff up. And every taxpayer is gonna pay for the dispose of that stuff. Not just tube stuff, whole bunches.
mhm. I would like more information
Madawaska
before I
Valley,
make a decision.
Madawaska Valley is free for anything under 10 centimeters. But I don't care what they do, I have to worry about what it's costing our taxpayers. And our taxpayers are paying for our fire department, for the chipper to dispose of that. What's the difference? Charging for that or next, what if they come and say they want to bring their garbage for free?
Or a little lumber.
I think definitely after a storm though, that should be a given.
But it depends how bad it was.
If you have a tornado or a flood, sure.
I think we just had a taxpayer who had called in maybe 2 months ago when we had the windstorm. And I think I brought it forward about the branches, and he wasn't happy that he had to take the branches to
That was after
the ice storm, windstorm, whatever. And we had decided at that point that any time that we needed, it wasn't gonna be a free deal. It was gonna be unless it was an emergency. Like the big ice storm way back. I think council had at that point had issued a free notice. Was that?
We had free pickup off, well, that was before my time here, but at both of the floods we didn't have.
I remember standing around Lynchburg. And it's after one of those Sunday exception. Ties and broken lumber and all that stuff. That was during the flood.
Was that okay for your answer?
Pardon me?
You're okay with that? For your reply?
Are we still going?
Oh, well, I thought 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, I didn't know it
Okay, let's do a formal vote.
yet. Okay.
Okay. Who would like a free one?
I'd like some more, I'd like to have my vote after the, this waste committee group comes back with the answers from these other. Maybe is that also one of the ones these guys are visiting, and
We did.
so like, these, maybe some of these questions, what do they do, but the question, they're not charging people, how do they get by, you know? What's the answer, what are they doing?
They're not going, our committee's not gonna have the answers for you because we've already there, so.
Sorry, what was that, Ted? The last part?
Well, the committee's already gone to the wayside,
Right.
so. There's gonna be no different answers than you'll get tonight.
So you don't know what they do with their brush and stuff?
What did you do with it?
I didn't go. But I just,
Like we went to,
just raised the taxes 5%, now we wanna cut out of our waste management.
and raise it more.
Because somebody's complaining they don't wanna pay for brush, well, brush is garbage, you're taking to the dump, there's gonna be a charge, plain and simple.
And most people, if they blow their brush the right way, instead of leaving a trying to put branch all in one piece, 40 feet in the air, like you chopped up small stamp on it, it's $10.
Yeah, taking stuff out there, they deny them there when people come in and our tenants treat everybody very fair. It is, I think we're flogging the dead horse here, I don't, that's what I said, we're taking stuff to the wayside, it's gonna cost you money. Simple.
So we're calling the vote. So no free ones unless there's a major storm, which council will decide, okay?
Declare an emergency.
Declared an emergency, that's a good phrase. So, let's vote. Okay, question's been asked, and where are we with hands? Okay, all those in,
Isn't that correct?
so
We voted.
we voted.
Status.
Okay,
I have a question. Are we able to discuss the vandalism to the truck at the dump? At all, can you like,
Oh,
yeah,
so I guess somebody went into the landfill and, new roll off, well, new roll off truck. I guess we kind of put the key on the map or whatever, because the gates are not. I guess they put it there, the one, we had the bumper a bit on it. And I guess I don't know if they threw rocks at it or what, the windshield was, it looks like all the pebbles in the windshield. And you can see we're kind of within where the pine tree was, like you can see the tracks and we recently created a galaxy and that whoever it was. There's a very solid level of, I went over it away, and on the way out, there was no LPP sitting at the fire hall there, so I asked if she would mind coming out and take a look and just report it. First thing, pictures and cameras and. There's really not, you could have just put a police watch on that road, leave it move in case they have no pump, and this year pump on that same road, so. What would be,
I think we have to put a trail down there. To cheap fix. Put a couple of them.
What we should do, what we should do is put one of those new cameras up, somebody goes in there, send us in the picture before the internet. Right to your phone, I got one. Not that one,
Honor is a very secure account.
if somebody goes in the dumpster, it was right on the floor.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because I think it's important that we have trail cams there and the public knows. People who did better listening. The next time, you might see them.
Chances are they're not listening to us.
I know.
They're probably casing up the
Maybe
next time.
someone else is passed on, small town.
I just have one quick thing for Dean. Dean and, well, Tom came to our rescue at Kilmer Pathways Park. We had a water leak underground, far underground, and, Dean had something at 7:20 in the morning, a big piece of equipment to fix it, and, we're just going to thank you for that. And I am incredibly impressed how well he can maneuver that scoop and that he got it in this close to the things he was thinking about when he was getting it, so thank you. And I want to grab one of those factors.
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
One question.
Go ahead.
Did we get any information back from the speed sign set up on the county road?
And I did not either. I've asked 3 times, my last 3 meetings there. And what's the fellow's name? Nathan? I think Lee was going to talk to him again, and I still have yet to hear. So as soon as we get that information, we'll definitely pass it on.
One more, we got the report back for the vendors on the, it'll be open next council meeting. Okay, good.
I have one point or 2 points. Mill Street. Going out of town towards the highway. We have a crosswalk. We have no crosswalk sign going out towards town. When we come in from the highway into town, there's a crosswalk sign. Is it called crosswalk sign? Is it
it's a pedestrian crosswalk.
pedestrian crosswalk? So when you come into town, the sign is there. But when you're leaving town, when you go past McCarthy's, there's no sign there. Do we need to do a resolution for that, for Dean to go ahead and put a sign up? Me personally, I think it's something that we should have in both directions as opposed to just to one. Does anybody have any comment, or do we want to?
That crosswalk for the.
Yeah, from the bridge, the covered bridge, I think it's just in front of the Mill Street parking lot, I think.
Not, I can't remember.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
And the last thing I have for Dean, I had a call from this is a very unique situation. I had a call from a taxpayer, lives on Wildlife Road. He had a culvert put in 19 what, Dean? 19 something by a fellow named Walter Lambert was the road super. He put the culvert in. And what's happened, you go into his driveway and there's the culvert, but it also accesses 2 other property owners. So the culvert is damaged. It's on our property. It's on the the road allowance. So he doesn't want the township to put a new one in. He would like the township to put a used one in, like an old one. He doesn't require a new culvert. So this is a really, really tricky situation, because if we were to give him the culvert and he was able to put it in himself, then we still have liability because it's our culvert, et cetera, et cetera. Exactly. That's where I was going next. It's a driveway.
No.
Or roadway, it's a road. Right.
Return to grader, not to pass the Terry Corvus, and it has, there's a sign that says, on the road, on the leader and everybody in this county. We got all the road numbers.
Well, hang on a second, before 19, what year did you say? 2000. There was change in the words that everything was honored beforehand, or anything after that would be honored by the township, but anything before that, it was cut loose. So this was done when Lambert was around a long time ago, so. Yeah.
Yeah, easily. Because I've been here since 95, and then we had Charlie Slipper, and Walter Lambert was before him.
So this is a really tough thing. You get into it or don't you get into it? You know, it's really,
Can't get into it from legal advice from our lawyer. We were told not to get involved.
So on the road. We don't maintain it.
Have you talked to?
Well, if you remember when we had that session, he stated that, right? He stated basically saying that. We sent a precedence going on from the rule like that. There we go. So you get permission,
But we put the culvert in there first.
and that's 100 years ago.
Doesn't matter. If we have-
Anything before 2001 and a half.
Why we bring those decisions up to the council.
No, that's not.
Not up to us, to the council.
Yeah.
what are you saying, Brian? It's not up to the council.
I don't think, after listening to the integrity guy here, he said, we don't make those decisions.
Oh,
We
you're
don't get
saying,
involved with those.
you're saying Dean should,
Well, Dean can, if he wants to, that's his business, it's not us.
I say, okay, I know, now I know where you're going.
Unless I heard him wrong.
You take direction, but want somehow use property, but you not like.
It's gonna be fun one.
Well, anything that's going to happen on this property. Council has to make the decision on what can and can't be done with that property.
That's right.
And changing a culvert is.
We make the decision, we make the policy and then Dean puts it in place and instructs what's to be done. So
Yeah. So,
asking us if we should put a culvert in, it's not. Not up to us to say this.
Which is our mission.
what do you want? Is that all there we can solve?
Onto the bylaws. We don't stop them, Dean or somebody.
And we have, we have a tree cutting bylaw that if somebody comes to us and wants some trees along their 33 feet on their side, they fill out where, what, and how, and I bring that to council, and then council makes that decision on to letting them cut the trees down and off. Okay.
I guess I misunderstood you.
Okay, that's enough culverts, thanks.
Okay, so it's up to him, right? Not up to us.
Not up to Ian, it's up to us.
Yeah, that's what we said, it's up to
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
No. Okay, I thought it's
No, no,
it's not up to
no.
us, it's up to him. It's not what he said.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean that. Okay,
Okay, that's enough culverts.
does anyone else have anything for Dean?
Yeah. Well,
You almost got
I
out.
got a call today because somebody's dumping garbage in the park. I called him right away to see if.
I put a whole bunch of bags in there yesterday.
Yeah, it's some. So is it like residential garbage or? Yeah, so we have somebody. In a blue Volkswagen. With a gray beard. Bringing his residential garbage and putting it in the garbage cans at the dump, or at the park. Well, try to find out who it is.
I was doing exploring.
Maybe it's a bit- I put a bunch in there, all the bags from the flowers. How do we do it, Gary? No fun. You're on the video now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, can you leave now? Oh, he's staying. Okay.
You stay? Just, okay, it was something with Anne bringing up, so I did not. Just don't be late for work.
Tammy,
Okay, the first thing I want to
Okay,
remind
Tammy's
you
talking.
that the new procedural bylaw, our time limit is at 9:30 and we're pushing 9 o'clock now. So just a reminder. So a couple of things I have is, I provided at your desk, the PSAB budget report. Will, our auditor, had explained that we have to do this, and so if you could please just review it. And if you have, I mean, it's just a summary of our budget, but in the PSAB way on how we have to report it. I do have a motion that I prepared to pass it, because we have to pass it by motion. So if you want to take a look at it, if everybody's okay, I can go ahead and read the motion.
everybody okay? Go ahead.
All right, so moved by Carl Keel, seconded by Maureen McMillan, that pursuant to section 2.1 Ontario Regulation 28409 Municipal Act 2001, the Council for the Township of Killaloe, Hagerty, and Richard hereby adopts the report as attached as approval of the exclusion of amortization expenses in the 2023 budget for the Township of Killaloe, Hagerty, and Richards.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carry.
Okay, so the next thing that I have is, so I received a letter from Mr. Blair Voivodich requesting from council an entry easement onto his property behind the medical center. Mr. Voivodich indicated that an entry permit was granted to him years ago, and previous minutes and paperwork specifying payment was received for the same appeared and indicate the same. CBO bylaw officer Tyler Mass has indicated that this property does not appear to have direct legal access to Mill Street, and that the entrance permit was granted onto an unopened road allowance that runs beside Mr. Voivodich's property. This unopened road allowance does not appear to link up with Mill Street, and as of now, it appears that Mr. Voivodich is crossing over the medical center property. However, the property lines are not evident, so this is not 100% known. To allow for Mr. Voivodich to enter onto his land legally, he would likely need an easement over the medical center property and the unopened road allowance. A survey would have to be done, and the township solicitor would need to draft a document to be placed on title. All costs would be the responsibility of Mr. Voivodich. And if the council agrees to move forward with his request, I do have a resolution indicating as such.
Any comments?
It's his time. His time.
We started to clear it out there a few years ago.
Our township solicitor is aware of the situation.
Yeah, the approval was given in 2013.
Mhm.
Yeah. I got no problem.
You guys down this way? You're okay?
Yeah.
Read the resolution, please.
So moved by Carl Keel, second by Brian Bukowski, that council for the township of Killu, Hagerty, and Richards hereby agrees to grant Mr. Blair Voivodik an easement over the medical center property located at 45 Mill Street, Killaloe, and the unopened road allowance which runs along the medical center property with the condition that Mr. Voivodik is responsible for all costs related to this matter. Furthermore, council for the township of Killu, Hagerty, and Richards directs the CAO clerk treasurer to move forward with this Mr. Voivodik's request.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried.
And I also wanted to make council aware that there's a special meeting booked at 6:30 on July 4th. Before the regular council meeting, and this has to do with a zoning amendment request. And it's there's two different parcels of property in this request to be zoned to limited service residential from rural. And then I will provide council with a package to review before the actual meeting, and then we can discuss if there's any questions or concerns. But this is the process that that happens with zoning amendments, and yeah. Yes, for a full council, yeah. It's a zoning amendment, yeah. Canada Day. So I just want to advise council that because Canada Day is on Saturday this year, that the municipal office and public works yard will be closed on the Monday to in lieu of the holiday. And the last thing that I have is I received an email from the county of Renfrew. Mayor Mayville had received the same one. It's from Lee Perkins in regards to a petition that they received from residents of KHR requesting courtesy crosswalks and temporary speed bumps. Mr. Perkins has identified that these requests may have financial impact to the municipality. And if council wishes to support the petition, a resolution would need to be passed. So I provided you the email, and
I thought we discussed that, we're doing the 40-kilometer payment on the roads.
I thought we were doing 44 things on the road because the town, he said absolutely no to all of the other things.
Yeah.
It said,
That's right.
but does this now say that the county is considering?
Well, they'll do it, but it'll,
Cost.
we'll pay for it.
Okay, so it's not a case that the county refused to put.
It's
speed bumps.
the whole email.
Okay. I think we don't have enough information, you know.
Uh-huh.
I certainly.
I'd like to know if does this mean that they would support a crosswalk,
Well,
because,
I'd like to know why half the people don't live in our township.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did notice that.
Yeah. It's somebody that signed Water Street.
No, like, apart from that, I feel like I've sat in this room and heard the mayor and other people say that the county absolutely refused to do anything about it. Putting sidewalks across bumps or speed bumps or anything, and this sounds like that's the opposite to that, so. I'd like to read Mr. Perkins' letter, but no, there is no Mr. Perkins' letter.
We had discussed it with the county, and they said absolutely not possible. They said something about courtesy walks, which is
Like what they have in their day.
Yeah.
there's no, that's what you have now. If the car stops for you, they stop. They don't have to stop. So then what happens when you put them in there and somebody doesn't stop?
I definitely know I won't support speed bumps.
No,
I don't care how fast people are going and not put speed bumps in.
Our job is to take the bumps out of the way.
Well, yeah, no, and I get that. Right, they're gonna support it, yeah, support it, and I'm saying that we need information we can receive, it doesn't seem to. maybe Mr. Perkins would come here and tell us himself, like whether or not, the county's gonna be, or the county's opposed to it. $25.
Okay.
Understand, I don't. Anyway.
Before we move out of committee reports, Carl, on your policies committee and procedures, is there, we have animal control in that group, like, is there policies and procedures for animals like dogs, cats, etc.? No, but, well, I have a question mark because I had another email about snakes. I don't ever remember snakes being in any of those.
We have an exotic animal bylaw and we have an animal control bylaw.
Oh, we do?
Do you have that snake on your property yet? Big orange one?
That's, you know.
Are you serious?
It was right on the main street. It's a corn snake. Somebody lost their corn snake. And it's the second time it's gone loose in the community.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was on somebody's porch and really freaked her out, but it slithered away before, I mean, she was scared. I don't think she would have caught it, but it slithered away. But it's bright orange and it's fairly big.
It's on Facebook.
Yeah, there's pictures on Facebook.
Then I didn't think I was going to have that kind of conversation when I brought up snakes.
Yeah, it's the second time it's gone missing, so I would maybe question.
And I know who else to do that.
Okay, well, maybe you want to talk to them about keeping it in their terrarium or whatever they keep snakes. Yeah.
We have a bylaw.
We have an exotic animal bylaw, whether or not that would fall into that, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'd have to take a look at the bylaw, at the bylaw.
See if snakes are in there. Okay, can we go ahead with correspondence now?
Yes, let's get her done.
Okay, school board elections.
I agree with that.
The next one is the second annual Lorna Hutter Memorial Golf Tournament. And sorry,
Yeah, I was gonna say we should be sponsoring.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
resolution.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Bill Smith, that council for the township of Killu, Hagerty and Richards hereby agrees to participate as a whole sponsor for the second annual Lorna Hutter Charity Golf Tournament on July 8th, 2023 in the amount of $200.
Yes.
Something
Certainly.
says the whole sponsorship program costs $200, which includes 200 golfers for the, or 2 golfers for the event, sorry. Well,
I think we just waive that.
I think we should waive the golfers and donate $200 to the event. Don't pay for golfers.
Well, we're going to sponsor for $200, but we don't. need
We
the-
don't check, we don't,
We don't need 2 free
No.
golf because we're only paid. We're paying.
Okay.
That one.
All those in favor?
did I, what?
All those in favor?
Oh, all in favor? Yeah. Resolution to support the town of Essex in the reinstatement of previous legislation that permitted municipalities to apply for and retain surplus tax sales. Tammy, do you have anything about that? Do you know?
I don't have a resolution.
No, do you know? You worried? Do you like this one or not?
It's up to
tax surplus?
council. Yeah. council.
Any discussion? No. City of Pickering. Use of long-term funding to support community care service. Any discussion? Letter of support for paramedic safety. Ottawa Valley Tourism News. Ongoing municipal involvement in procuring new electricity facilities. And Just a message from the minister in regards to infrastructure, asset management planning. There was we got this at county council, it's called Canoe Procurement Group of Canada. And I understand a couple years ago or a year ago, this was presented to the previous council, I think. And Tammy informs me that administratively, they've been using this company as far as administration supplies like paper, etc. And office furniture, whatever else. This place is based out of Western Canada. And what they do is they get all the municipalities together. Say if you need tires, like the big tires for trucks. So if your municipality needs 4, it gets added to the list of the big blanket order. So they'll get a deal on 100 tires as opposed to just ordering 4. I passed this on to Dean. He's reviewing it and we can save. In your words, would you save money by doing this? What you're
Yeah,
doing?
we're already signed up for that.
Yeah. Administratively, we're doing
And
this,
Dean has already signed up.
Yeah.
The roads is already signed up for that as well.
but he hasn't utilized the program yet, but you've used it. And as far as you utilizing it, you've noticed the savings in money. So tires was one example, but this is really a good program, really good program. So just to let you know, it was passed on to Dean. Do you think they want a copy of this at some point? Do you guys want a copy of that at some point? Does anyone? Because if you do,
Well, she not have
Yeah. Okay. Any unfinished business? New business. I'm gonna go first. So we were, every county council or during the month, we get presented with a group called the Community Service of Renfrew County. And there's 4 people involved in this group. There's a director of community services, there's a manager of Ontario Works, a manager of childcare and early years service, and a manager of housing and homelessness. So there's 4 speakers. So what I'd like to ask council, could we have a special meeting in September, October, where all 4 people would come and present their cases? We're fortunate, we have an outlet here, Ontario Works, who's, I think they're staffed 5 days a week, aren't they? I think. But what they would like to do is present their services of what they provide to each community in the county. And I think, me personally, I'm impressed every time I hear these 4 women talk. It's very worthwhile. And I think it would be great for our residents to be able to hear this also. And to the point of maybe we invite neighboring, say Brunel or North Algona to come also, like their council, and have a session, one night session for not just us, but invite other municipalities. I'll ask you guys, do you think you want to do something like that? But it would extend, I guess a special meeting extends our limit, right?
We would have to provide public notice and put it in as a special meeting, yes.
Okay.
We could do that.
And then we'd be under the 9:30 curfew,
It's-
not the delegation curfew. I think that's what we're getting at. Because each one was probably spend, I think 15 or 20 minutes talking about their specific. So would everybody be okay with that?
Yep.
September, October? Well,
November.
oh, hunting season.
You can have.
So if I say September, October, is that okay with you guys?
Well, yeah.
I'll let you know as soon as possible. They have the summer off.
July.
Holy Jesus.
I'm off for 17 days.
Okay. I know.
Do you have some-
Okay. I'll get back to you as soon as I have. Yeah. Okay, good, thank you. Carol?
Okay. How do you fence in the park? It's half down, half up, laying on lower, but it's a disgrace. You can take it down or fix it. No, yeah, I can get down, period. But it ain't good, man, I agree with that. There's no, just because the person we had working for us was on the wrong side of the job doing it, and she fell. We put the fence up and it looks ugly.
I think maybe for liability though, you might want to put a sign there, maybe saying do not climb or do not walk in the beds or something. Just in case, like, God forbid, if that happened again and it already happened once, I think that would be a big one. Like, I agree the fence should go. But I think maybe we need something there just to warn people until we can fix it.
Do not-
fix it.
Go or something. Do not cross.
Yeah,
Do not go past this line or something.
Yeah.
like that.
yeah.
Get a couple signs up. And what we take on. Hey, thank you.
But liability wise, I think we need something there.
It's been there for 30 years.
I think Dean did.
And then,
Dean,
How come if it's down? why is
no,
the line-
no, it's half up, half down.
Looks like shit up there.
Probably somebody hit a post and one side is sagging down.
This stuff makes no help.
You know,
That's do it around my garden, it's steady down, you can put a post every 8 feet, 6 feet, if it's still.
it looks cheap.
so could we add, or who would be the person kind of, is that a Dale? Like, who would be the person kind of like in charge of figuring out the liability end of that?
I could talk.
We have liability anyways.
No, but just to make sure we're doing it properly, I agree the fence should go, but I think we need to, like, someone who's in a, you know.
I'll talk to both Dean and Dale. We'll work.
Yeah,
work it out.
yeah,
Get it removed.
yeah.
The fence is standing up, I'm not sure if it will protect anybody from falling.
It's not.
Oh, half is.
Down, it's certainly not.
Brian, half is and half is.
It looked like Brian's right, even if it's up straight up.
So we go again, that hole's gonna fall over.
It's snow fast.
I get the last 10 minutes, I got.
No, you don't.
Oh, good. Okay, fine, you wanna go first? Okay.
I have another thing.
Oh,
I'm not done yet. Hurry up.
oh, good.
Look,
Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
She won't say no. But the fountain, I'm gonna talk water.
We make too much of it there.
Yeah. We should be
Okay,
using more.
so go on.
Plus, we gotta go in committee hall.
The fountain in the park, can we turn it on? I know how to turn it on, I was talking to Aqua the other day. I don't see why. Hey?
It probably got turned off in COVID.
No, it came back last year.
Oh, it came back last year.
Oh,
Oh,
no, only the bottom part of the
No,
fountain was
just
turned on for watering. No, that'll get turned on, Carl. That'll get turned on.
About this. The drinking in the. park.
Yes, Carl.
The
It'll,
drinking.
it'll get turned on.
and it'll be water.
Wasn't there
Right.
last year?
Yes, it was for watering the flowers. Yes, it
No, I'm
was.
talking about drinking fountain.
She knows what you're talking
I know what
about.
you're talking about.
Well, we turn the drinking fountain on. I know the bottom one is on, for sure, you
Yes.
turn it down. But the one going up to drink out
So
of,
do
it's
you
shut
want-
off.
Oh, that is shut off and it's been shut off since COVID.
Yes, I'd like to get that turned back on. I don't see why not. Nobody's gonna put their mouth right over the fountain to drink out of it.
You never know.
I'll vote against because they're taking water for free. Information booth.
Who thinks we should turn the fountain on? You tree? No, I'm not.
It's
I'm
a,
just,
it's a slippery slope. What do they call it? Gateway?
forget about it. I'm just trying to do something for the town, that's fine, forget it.
Can we have a vote on whether the water tap or the water fountain gets turned back on?
Do we need a vote?
Yes.
Let's have a vote. All those in favor?
Oh, my God.
6-0.
Thank you.
While we're on a voting meet, can we have a vote on the tap or on the other tap?
Never mind.
We're not ready yet.
And that's done and done with.
We voted on that how many times already?
And it's no.
Did we vote?
Oh, my God, funded counts.
I don't know.
we're waiting for Dale to get back to
I
us
don't-
with some.
Brian, I don't think there was a
information.
vote.
Get the minute, Brian.
It's nothing to do with water.
What's that?
Deal has nothing to do with water.
He's looking into a timer.
He's trying to find.
He's trying to find a solution.
It's not about it,
But this is
Hey,
not.
don't forget about the water.
Not
I got my water out here. My fence down.
Okay, take your water and go home.
Okay.
Brian,
Okay, two things. First of all, I noticed our municipal flag has been taken down. Is there any reason for that? Or what is the reason? Who made that decision?
We voted to,
put the other flag up. And remember the pole, the rope broke?
can vote the flags.
There's no reason why you guys are.
So- Okay, can I make a suggestion? There is no policy on flagpoles or flags. I think we should put this as a policy and procedure that we come up with a policy and procedure.
I think, yeah, should have policies,
You don't?
flags.
We always
Because-
had a municipal flag flying and it's not.
You're supposed to have the Canadian flag, like every township is going through this right now. You're supposed to have the Canadian flag, which is the highest flying flag. Then you have your provincial flag, and then you have your municipal flag. And they're below. Now, at the fire department, the three flags are posted. Canadian flag in the middle, and on each side is the provincial and the municipal. We've only got two poles here. I think there's not a third pole in the middle, right?
Fly. But I don't know. Never here.
Has that one pole always been blank?
No, it's.
Yeah, municipal flag.
We've had two flags before.
Municipal
I
flag.
haven't got any municipal flags too.
We have
Oh,
not
no
the
provincial.
flag.
Okay,
We've never flown.
so I think we need a policy or a regulation that we have to have those three flags in front of our building for sure.
Not the provincial.
Why wouldn't you?
Why
The
would?
fire department has that.
Well, they got three poles, not two.
So can the question be, can the two flags fly on the same pole? Can the pride flag fly with their municipal?
They have it at the police station.
So can our municipal flag go back up with the pride flag?
Yeah,
Was
Is that-
flying municipal flag down.
Yeah,
It was never up, and the pole was supposed to be broken down six.
yeah, so can we get the municipal flag back up? Sure. With the pride flag? Done.
Yeah,
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Maureen, you got 6 minutes.
Do I get to go now?
6
I
minutes.
don't have one more. One more person,
I have 9 minutes, Carl.
we're gonna run out of time.
I heard.
Anyways, so I had two people approach me regarding the statement in newspapers last week by our mayor about the tax increases. And both of them, one was from Ward 2, one was from Ward 3. They want to know why you said in the newspaper that the reason, one of the reasons why the taxes went up was because of a $200,000 computer system going into the water plant.
Yep.
They want to know why their taxes in Ward 2 and Ward 3 have anything to do with the water plant, which they have no. They get no use out of it, they don't, it should not be contributing to the area. It was a statement in their comment.
Yes.
So they would like you to explain that.
That's a good question. And so the total budget was projected at $200,000. So that's listed as an expense. So how to offset that in the income side is that there is $119,161 grant. Okay. Basically, what I'm going to tell you is that nobody is paying that. Okay, it's all grant money. That's how it gets paid for.
We're drawing money on reserve.
Just hang on a second.
Got it.
Can I?
Okay, I do.
$119,161 comes from the ICIF grant. $21,289 is from the water reserve, which is Killaloe based. 30,000 from the ORP reserve. And 29,550 from the working reserve. So everything is Killaloe based.
What's working reserve?
Killaloe based, right? The working, not the working. So the working reserve is
So to balance the
the
budget.
balance.
To balance the budget, we had to draw from working reserves to fund the rest of that project. That project needs to get done. It's our water plant and it's not something to fool around with. However, to balance the budget, we needed to draw from there. But the year's not over and our plan is we're hoping that, we don't know how much we are getting from dividends from Ottawa River Power. We won't know till towards the end of the year. We're hoping that with those dividends, we'll be able to draw the remainder of that 29 from Ottawa River Power. But right now, to balance the budget, we had to pull it from working funds.
So when that amount comes from Ottawa River, then that will go in and that'll slide back.
Depending on what we get from Ottawa River Power.
29,550. Okay,
That's my turn.
2 minutes.
That's okay, I go fast. So, basketball nets, Harold, you said you have some basketball nets hanging out at Round Lake. But you could, I'm requesting that the basketball nets be set up, at the Killaloe rink to give the kids in Killaloe something to do and somewhere to go. If we need your consent to do that. Right?
They belong to the township.
They belong to the township. Yeah, and so you made that, yeah, you made that suggestion that they could be placed there so that the youth here have something to do in the summertime.
I thought it was purchased a few years ago, it was really to start, but we just never, nobody else wanted to do it.
Okay, so is everybody okay with
They're
that?
not keeping, they're not up and running?
I have the ones that found they're up,
Okay.
but they're just set in the storage building,
Oh.
that have never been pulled or assembled. They were purchased with the comfort, Killaloe, and not by volunteer, but the township.
So that's okay? Okay, second thing, I've been going around to a lot of local businesses and taking pictures and, talking to businesses, and I want to be able to share the pictures with Chris on the KHR page so that he can help promote local businesses to our page. And I'm just asking for permission to have a direct line to Chris to send him pictures of businesses and give them a little shout out online. They're all KHR businesses and, okay. And my last thing is an asset management tour. And maybe this is a bit big, but I just want to put this in, as a new counselor, I haven't had a tour of any of our community's assets. I haven't been to a lot of the spaces that I'm making decisions about. I don't know if you guys and maybe might be in the same boat, and I'd really like to have an opportunity to have a proper tour of our assets.
Water plant, sewage plant.
Yeah,
Works yard.
the works yard, like I haven't seen a lot of it, so a lot of, even when Dale comes and talks to us about, like, I haven't seen it with my own eyes, and I'd really like to.
I'll ladder all up and down the.
Yeah,
I'll get you want me to get in touch with Ashley and see if we can set a time up to, we can do a water and sewage plant?
yeah, or I don't know if Dale
Well,
can come up with a time when he could tour us around some of these spaces, like we could see them all in like a morning or in a,
I think it's a really good idea and I'm all for it. And I think if we do this in September, October, it would be more advantageous for us leading into the budget process. And then we can look at roads, we can look at buildings, the whole enchilada.
I think. Looking at roads, I think we should go on a road tour to make sure everybody knows.
That's what I'm just saying,
Oh, do a whole day tour.
the whole day tour.
okay, anyway, can you talk to Dale about arranging something at some point in time for us, maybe giving us some dates?
So are you guys September, October?
Yep.
And do the whole enchilada. Roads, buildings, everything.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's. I think I'm gonna do the assets and not the homes. Just going to go during the spring, this is when we get all our house and potholes and.
Actually, the fall's not bad to see it either. Anyway, we're gonna, anyways,
I would personally like to do it before summer, because I feel like I'm already in the thick of it, and I would really like to see these things before too much more time, before we go through a whole summer and we're making work decisions.
Bye, Terry. Thanks, Terry.
curfew time.
So I don't know if he could come up with some dates for us, I don't know what you gentlemen.
Well, it's gotta be all of us and
I don't mind, won't be going. I've seen them all 100 times, I don't.
Yeah.
think they go.
You and Joe, I haven't seen the water and sewage, everything else I've been. In.
Maybe it's just me and you.
Maybe it's me and you.
okay, it's your dime. Go do it.
Okay,
I've been in the water plant, downtown sewage plant.
so I think
No,
we have.
that's fine.
Yeah, thank you, Danny.
Up to you, Maureen and Bill go on a tour. I've seen everything 100 times.
And you said we go in committee?
No, I don't have anything. for
Oh,
tonight.
you don't?
Hmm.
Did we pull my leg? I thought you said there was something. Oh, okay. Motion for the confirming bylaw.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Maureen McMillan, that bylaw 2023 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council of the Township of Kilburn, Liberty and Richard, that its regular meeting held on June 6, 2023, be given its first, second, and third reading and finally passed the 6th day of June 2023.
All those in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Carried.
Moved by Bill Smith, second by Brian McCoskey, motion to adjourn the regular council meeting of June 6, 2023 for the Township of Kilburn, Hagerty and Richards.
And I thought we were doing so well tonight. All those in favor? I thought we were doing so well tonight. Those first two or three